Simple, small structures built high on a mountain by simple people using sticks and mud and cow dung. This is Kavia. There is a predominance of municipal buildings. Yeah, it's one way of controlling that. If you don't give it to all the corporations, you need somebody in control to handle these beautiful relics of a bygone time. I want to get run down. It's you're never sure when you're walking on these foreign people driving on the other side of the road. Not as confident as to which direction the traffic's coming from. Anyway, this is the local temple. The historic town, it has to be, with this sort of old architecture. Town of Kavia, or Kavilla, as the English would say, is really beautiful up here in the mountains. People come up here to ski, believe it or not, I guess from up here in the winter. And it's already feeling pretty chilly in the mountains at night. But I just wanted to point out this little gem. Recognize that? Even here. I don't know if this is some kind of Wi-Fi thing or a 5G thing, but just thought I'd point it out. It would be remiss of me not to mention the mosque situation locally. It's becoming almost I'm just talking about walking around now, but it's becoming almost 50-50, no, maybe more 70-30 people wearing the mask and those that aren't. This is outdoors. That couple were wearing a mask. The couple that crossed the road just in front of me there wearing a mask. These 8 people in front of me, 2 of them not wearing a mask. This is outside. The guy looks like Theo. American, no. No, human. Yeah, I haven't looked in the mirror for a few days, so my hair, Andrew said my hair looks, earlier said my hair looks not that way. Those are always hard to explain. I don't know if you can see them. I'll turn the camera. High to the window, you'll notice. Gets deeper. Yeah. And the shop, no mention the mask, and this guy is taking the piss. He's like, is ready to go. But this shop will have its floor level here. Or maybe not. Oh yeah. Look at that. I won't go in. I'm not wearing a mask. Do what? I've got to walk up 3 stairs. So yeah. Yeah, so I guess here it's fair to report that the mask thing is pretty much entrenched. Never thought that would be the most common piece of litter you see lying around, is the discarded COVID emitter. That'll come soon, won't it? They'll have cleanup teams going around, and it'll be a fine for dropping your COVID face covering. Just wanted to say something. We met a lovely couple yesterday, whose name I won't mention right now, but actually we first had contact with them in Lincoln when we were in the camper van at the beginning of the lockdown. They kindly sent us some money, very kindly, and then they in July decided to kind of cash in and buy a piece of land off the internet. And the lady missold them, and it has these brand new high power, like the very biggest kind of power lines that you can think of, running right through the center of the land, bisecting it such that bom dia.
Yeah.
Bom dia. I keep saying obrigado, which is thanks. Bom dia. And then people, of course, locally don't say the whole bom dia necessarily. That's like how you learn English at school, you know. Good afternoon. When people say hey, or what's up. Anyway, this couple have got themselves into a situation where they've invested most of their savings into something that is now causing them heartache. And it's a really important lesson, I think, that people, and I met this other guy who was in such a rush that he was willing to buy something without giving it enough consideration and doing due diligence on it and so on. And truthfully, you know, these folks were coming onto a piece of raw land that had no structures on it. You know, and all of that stuff does take time. You can't just call up Amazon or whatever and have delivered the complete living solution, however simple. Unless you're willing, obviously, just to put up a tent and have a campfire, poo in the forest, and which is fine, but you know, it's a big step down from all the amenities of modern life. And as I mentioned earlier, the winter is pretty cold here. Shame. The winter's pretty cold here, and with the coming winter and people breathing their own CO2, bloody hell, it sounds like I'm walking on a building site, but there is quite a lot of construction going on just around here. Anyway, people are going to be getting sick, aren't they? I think that's inevitable. But getting back to this lovely couple, 2 daughters, you know, so brave of them to be able to, you know, take that step and be courageous enough to do that. But there is a lesson in that, hey, about, you know, and I think one of the things the system wants is for us to think we're out of time, you know, and there's no way of escape. Matt from Quantum of Conscience said something interesting the other day on a bit of a video I listened to, where he's talking about the Matrix, decoding it, and how actually Neo was set up to be the one they created the breadcrumbs for him to follow so that he would create the reset for them, because the system, the Oracle and the engineer, whatever, they want the reset, and they bring it about by getting one of the creators in Neo to do that. So the system's going to be around for a while in some guise, that way forever maybe, but your ability to leave the system will remain always open, I think. It becomes more and more perhaps cumbersome, the paperwork and all the things. But what might be useful, I think, in future, Andrew and I are talking about this, is, you know, that we learn what we need to so that we can offer people like a soft landing or a softer landing. You know, in an otherwise fairly inhospitable, I mean, the Portuguese are lovely people, don't get me wrong, but you know, driving around you realize that, you know, you're in a foreign country, you look like a foreigner, you know, you don't speak the language, which really doesn't help from us, and you can't be sure how this fear of the outsider is, you know, because they did that to us in Devon and Cornwall. We found people saying, you know, we're not encouraging people from outside to come in because they'll bring, we're a quiet area here, there's not much COVID here, but we're worried about those people up north in London or whatever. Sorry for London, because the lockdown's just coming tonight, isn't it? You know, we don't want them coming down. So this is the same horse poop that's being spun everywhere. Oh, we're a quiet area, but over there it's bad. And so for the reasons we don't want to transmit, we don't want people moving, we want to take all the precautions so that it doesn't get in here. I mean, this far in, that you know that smart people in your life can't work this out, can't figure out that there's nothing really happening in their life, that they're so caught up in the TV life. This isn't ending. So, let me finish by saying don't rush. Do what you need to do to get here, but don't rush, because this doesn't end. I don't think it ends in 2021. I think that this continues for some time to come, and your opportunity to exit continues to exist for some time to come. And hopefully I can make good on that idea to get to a point where I can offer people some kind of landing pad from which they can strike out and set up their own little homestead. Because really that's all we need, hey? I mean, a source of income remains a necessary part of this system, and until such time as that's different, it's important that you consider how you are to, get beyond simply being on the land, because it takes a time to be self-sufficient, and even in that journey, self-sufficiency is always going to be having some kind of relationship with the system. So sorry about all the noise. I will just finish where I am at is today I'm actually looking for a log burner, a little wood burner for the bus. It's freezing, it's like a fridge. And Dan and Vanessa have kindly offered to stump up the cost of a little wood burner in there for the bus. It'll only be small, it only needs to be a small thing, but it should make a world of difference, because it's really unpleasant already after the sun goes down, or before it's fully shining on the bus in the morning. Anyway, I'll maybe do a little video on the wood burner installation. I've been doing a bit of research, and people seem to like seeing videos of wood burner installations. So I know my channel's probably shadow banned or all that sort of stuff for other words I've spoken in the past. Anyway, I better go.